Today I'm chatting with Tamara Colbert, professional organizer and owner at Peace in a Pod Organizing Solutions based in Houston, Texas. She started her business in 2020 with the goal to help busy moms stay organized and maximize their free time. In this interview, we're talking about how to diversify your services as a home organizer and branch out to monetizing other things that you love doing. Welcome to the show, Tamara.
I'm so excited.
Yay! Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what called you to get into this field of professional organizing.
So this is going to be probably different than most. I was not a born organizer, hated it. I did not want to be clean. I was a lazy child, teenager, of course. I didn't care about anything. So the fact that I'm an organizer is actually quite funny to my parents. But I actually moved a lot. I got married really young at 18 and had 3 kids in that 16-year marriage. I'm now divorced. But we moved so much being young and married. And sometimes you take stuff, sometimes you can't. You learn to get real unattached real quick. And then after my divorce, we actually lived in that house for 5 years. So I had to go through the whole house by myself. And as overwhelming as it was, when I was done, that peace, oh my God, that's what makes me so excited about it. Because I see the solution when I go in and I know the peace they're going to feel. So that's actually how I came up with the name as well, but for Peace in a Pod. But that's kind of how I got started into organizing. I just loved starting over and helping people kind of dive into that and get back to their peace.
Yeah, I think once you've moved so many times in your life, like I've personally moved, I think 19 times in my life, maybe 20 now with the recent big one. But I think once you've done that, you kind of just know that you can't take it with you and that stuff doesn't, mean anything bigger than friends and family and love and, joy and doing the things that you love doing. It's like, it's just stuff. So yeah, it's kind of that deconditioning of once you've moved maybe 5, 6, 7 times, you get up to 20 and you're like, screw it, I don't need it. So tell us about your business name. Yeah, like the story behind Peace in a Pod. I love your logo as well and your branding. So how did this all come about?
Oh, it took some time. It was definitely a journey. I actually started with a different name. I wanted to play on words. I'm sorry, I have 3 kittens and they have bells on their collars. So if you hear that, excuse me. I had backspace organizing. So I wanted to play on words. Backspace to me was like, okay, you hit backspace, you're deleting and starting over. So it made sense, but then as it went on, I'm like, I don't want to keep explaining this. Like, I want people to understand what it is. And I didn't want my name in it for some reason. I don't know. I just didn't. And I did a DBA with that name, and I worked and I did like for my friends and family with that name. And like a year later, it just hit me. I don't know if I was watching something and I was like, Peace in a Pod. I was like, Peace in a Pod. I called my sister and she was like, yes. And I was like, it's a play on words. You know what I'm talking about when I say Peace in a Pod. The pod is your home. And I wanted to be about the solution, not like, and no offense to any other organizer, but I didn't want it to have like chaos in it. I don't know. For me, it was like a mind thing. So I was like, I don't want it to be anything of confusion and you're a mess and nothing. I want it to be the solution. That's my degree background. So I'm all about problem solving and analyzing and solutions. So I have a master's in accounting. So I'm always about auditing and I use stupid words like that. So Peace in a Pod just like hit me and I was like, I'm changing it. And I wanted the colors to be calm, like calming. And I looked up colors and blue was calm. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do blues. And I just had a vision like the home and like the pod for peas. And it just all came together and I did it in Canva. It was super simple. And I had someone professionally do this logo, but it just all came together when I finally did it. But it didn't stop me from organizing. And that's important.
Right. Yeah. Just get started. Take that messy action. Your first name might not be your forever name. And the fact that you kind of had that light bulb moment, it's like, ooh, that was meant to happen at that time. You call your sister, you go into Canva, you get all excited, you do the color search. And like you said at the beginning, that peace that you felt after decluttering, downsizing, and going through your own divorce, and that peace that you felt cleaning out that huge house was just like, oh, I want to be able to give this to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So speaking of that, what are a few of your favorite areas of a home to work on?
Definitely the kitchen. Pantry doesn't just mean pantry for me. I mean, there's so many cabinets in kitchens. People don't realize like this needs to be cleaned out as well. You probably have tons of Tupperware, kitchen toys that you're not using that you just bought. I'm guilty. Um, I love pantry, but I also love to cook. So the kitchen is like the most important thing to be clean and organized and be able to find stuff and not overbuy all the things. So I definitely love a pantry. I just go in and people are like, this is it. They're ashamed. And I'm like, yes, like I know what to do with this. Sorry. I know what to do with this. Closets, of course, are always fun because I love clothes. I mean, who doesn't? Um, and it is the most overwhelming spots, I think, for people, but it's the most gratitude. So I'd say pantry and closets for sure.
So speaking of your love for cooking and being in the kitchen, I love your Instagram. So for those of you listening, she's at Peace in a Pod Organizing on Instagram. I love that you have diversified a lot of the things that you present on Instagram. So you're showing your cookbook, you're showing your drink recipes. I know within our Pro Organizer Bootcamp Mastermind, I always remembered this, even though it was like our very first call way back in May of 2022. You're like, people call me Tequila Tam because I love tequila and I'm always making drinks. So tell us a little bit about that and how you've been able to infuse your passion for those things into this business.
It's just crazy. So I kind of had a ultimate vision, if you will, like totally Tam was going to be all these things that had to do with the home and just a woman in general, a mom, obviously, because those are what I am. So I just kind of went to the ultimate goal of what I wanted in life and then what I wanted to offer. And then I just kind of dialed backwards and started smaller. So cooking is something I do every day. So I was like, I need to do something. I actually had an idea for a cookbook years ago. And then it just kind of really started hitting me when I got divorced because I was just like, I just need to throw some stuff together and I don't have time to grocery shop. I work so far away. I need to make sure like stuff is done. So my mom used to call them Sheila Surprise. Her name is Sheila. So when we were little, so I was like, it's going to be Tamara Surprise. And my kids just be like, what is that? I'm like, it's a surprise. So I was like, I'm going to do a cookbook. I was going to call it Sheila Surprise, but I was like, I don't want to explain that either every time. So I was like, throw it in. Throw it in sounds simple and you get what I'm saying. I'm literally just going to see what I have and throw it together and here it is. And they love it. Surprisingly enough. Like don't tell them what it is because then they're going to be like, I don't like it. But just throw it in and it's another creative way. Like I just love being creative and thinking on the spot and not planning. Sounds terrible, but sometimes it just doesn't work for me. So that's how I got into the cookbook stuff. And I did like a keto cookbook just because I had done keto at one point, and those were the dishes that I liked that didn't taste like tar. So I was just like, or bitter. So I made that. Yes, they call me Tequila Tam. I literally only drink tequila. I mean, I made other stuff sometimes, but I was like, I want to do something that's drinks you normally order at a restaurant like Cosmo and Old Fashioned and whatever, the normal drinks, but with tequila. So I did that twist of tequila because I'm just changing it up and adding the liquor that I like. And I just, giving people that creative freedom, like you can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be what everyone else is doing. And then room sprays, that actually came about from just being an organizer, organizing people's homes so much. They have so many sprays and body washes and hand soaps and candles. And I was like, this is something else I could offer for the home. And just have like room sprays that the names are catchy. So I have like kitchen's closed because I say like to my kids, like, okay, the dishes are done, the kitchen's closed. But it's really just like a lemon scent. So it's just catchy names that like women and moms relate to. And I love it. So far they're doing well.
Yeah, and how cool to be able to have a gift option for past clients, to be able to gift them a little room spray, and then every time they see it, they kind of think of you and they remember you,
Mhm.
and then have you back for more sessions and all of that good stuff. I know that here on video, for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, Tamara's wearing a really cute sweatshirt that says organized as a mother. So before we jumped on, we were talking about that as well. Tell us about kind of your plans or ideas for maybe having more products than just the room sprays, the cookbook, the drink book, all the things.
Sprays is kind of similar to the shirts. I actually wanted to start a lounge wear a long time ago because being in the transition of COVID and no longer working in an office, like I am at home lounging and I want to be in loungewear. So it was just kind of like, oh, I'm going to do a let's start Monday loungewear because I always say I'm going to start Monday, exercising. I don't. So I was like, let me just do something with that and catchy phrases that women and moms say all the time that aren't your traditional, things. Cause I'm not a very traditional person if you haven't picked that up. But I wanted like things that could relate to us. And this was it came to me because everything was like the keep calm stuff or something as a blank. And I was like, man, I could do that. And then like when they're done being organized, I would offer the shirt and it's kind of like a completion. Now you're organized as a mother or whatever your term would be. So I love it. I have so many designs waiting. This is like one thing I haven't officially launched yet, but I was like, let me go ahead and just put it out there.
And then you start wearing it, people see you wearing it, they say, where did you get that? And then that's the selling point. So yeah, it kind of drums up business just in that way. Another thing that I know you've been doing is running a Facebook group. So a lot of questions that come up in our Pro Organizer Bootcamp community are surrounding this idea of taking yourself out of the Monday through Friday grind, the labor intensive organizing, pivoting a little bit into virtual organizing, coaching, speaking, creating courses, all of these things. So tell us about your Facebook group and kind of your plans for that or what you've seen progress with there.
I'm more of a personal person, like small groups. I don't really like to speak in crowds. So the thought of connecting to people that need my help individually, but still in a broad spectrum. I hate social media. I do. I don't like the rules of it. And I have to post just to post. Like, this is so unauthentic. Like, I rebel against it a little. So I thought that the private Facebook group would be more personal. And I could say what I want. I could wake up. If I have a thought, I put it there. If I have something I want to say, I put it there. I think it's more who's in the group is wanting this information rather than me just posting the post. So I love it. I think it gives more insight to me and my life and what I'm going through, and hopefully like someone can relate to it. Because I don't have like a podcast for that. So I just figured that would be an easier way to reach out to people. And if you have questions, they'd ask me questions and a way to engage, but like want to engage.
Well, and it's also cool when it's a closed group where it is private, right? You can be your authentic, true self. You can swear, you can cuss, you can write whatever, you can do a rant video, you can be truly yourself and not have to follow these quote unquote social media etiquette or rules or whatever it is. So that's why I also love my Facebook group, because I'm like, okay, sometimes maybe I'm not gonna like post this on my Instagram, but for you guys in this more intimate, connected group, it makes more sense. So yeah, I always love seeing your posts pop up on my feed because I love your kind of tongue-in-cheek humor of you'll tend to post like memes or post like GIFs or whatever that make me crack up. So yeah, I appreciate the authenticity behind that.
Great.
So what is maybe some advice that you have for new professional organizers that are just getting started, maybe just thinking about starting their business? What's something that you would have to say to a total newbie?
I would say don't disqualify yourself. I actually saw a post about this yesterday. It wasn't about organizing, but it just hit me like, don't disqualify yourself from doing what you know you're supposed to be doing because you don't have the resources or the tools. I think the most stressful thing about me when I started was materials. I didn't know where to get materials from. This is before Home Edit came out with all their stuff. Like, it just wasn't a thing. And I was just like, oh God, what do I tell them? What if I don't know enough? What if I don't, and then looking at other organizers, because they tell you to look at other people, and it's like, that's the worst because you have that imposter syndrome. Like, this person's doing fantastic and I can't do that. And you don't even start because you're so overwhelmed with what you think you can't do. So I would just say don't disqualify yourself and just start. If you have to change things along the way, I can't tell you how many times I've changed things. I've changed the price. I added packages. I've added a travel fee. I've changed things so many times and people didn't even blink because either they didn't know before or they just want the help. And for me, the end goal is about helping the person. It's not about the money or the materials or whatever. So even if you don't have the support, because I also don't know any other entrepreneurs in my family that have started a business or did anything like this. So you may be on your own, but like find a support group of organizers. Maybe don't look at them so much, but like find that support. If you have questions, we're all pretty helpful. But don't disqualify yourself, just start. Don't worry about a website, logo, all that jazz, because I did that. But just start.
It is, it's such a magic time to be able to follow your calling and to know that you have that little niggle, that little whisper of like, oh, maybe I should be doing that. I'm just holding all my gifts to myself. I'm hoarding my talents. I'm not, you know, spreading the word and getting out into my community and serving others and impacting other people's lives. And it can be really daunting to get caught up in that how. You know, I always like to say, don't worry about the how. If you have that dream and that passion and that gift and that talent and you want to share it with the world, you will figure it out as far as the website and the branding and the logo and blah, 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 all the things. Don't worry about the how, just get started. I love that. Also, too, being the black sheep in your family, I think, too, is something to be said. Like, I'm the only entrepreneur in my entire family, and I come from, you know, academics, and my dad was a college professor, my mom was a school teacher, my grandma was a teacher, everybody wanted me to be a teacher. And I'm like, well, guess what? I am a teacher. I am teaching people how to get organized. So yeah, I think going against the grain takes some balls, but it's so worth it, right?
It's much more rewarding, unfortunately. You know, go to college if that's your thing. But I did all of that. I worked as a controller for 10 years. I mean, but I'm still using my accounting degree. I'm still problem solving. I'm analyzing. I'm figuring new ways. I'm implementing new things, and I'm still using the degree, just more to what brings me joy rather than. And I do love accounting, but like, do I want to do it forever? I don't.
Yeah, I've talked to so many people from different backgrounds. Like my background is in HR. I've talked to a few different engineers on the podcast that, you know, their parents kind of encouraged them slash like made them go to, you know, finish college and get their engineering degree and this and that. And it's like amazing that now they're doing these space planning and designs and spatial mock-ups and like using AutoCAD. We had an interior designer on the podcast recently, things like that, where yeah, they are still engineers. They're engineering spaces. And so it really is one of these industries where you can come from any background. You can come from any educational background, no educational background, whatever it is. I feel like there is a place for you in this industry. So I love, Tamara, what you said about just get started, you know, don't get caught up in all of the nitty-gritty details.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people find you if they want to connect with you further, check out your website or all the things?
My website is peaceandpodorganizing.com. Peace and Pod Organizing for Instagram. I don't have like a business page for Facebook. I do. It's Peace and a Pod, but I don't really do anything there, so don't be alarmed. I don't really do much on TikTok, but Peace and a Pod there. My link tree is also Peace and a Pod, which would give you everything that I have. The cookbooks, the room sprays. I haven't launched these yet, but I will. What else? Oh, my private Facebook group is Reclaiming My Time. I just didn't want it to be like all organizing because there's so much other daily life that we go through that still affects you. But yeah, we're getting your time back, your free time. I'm all about it.
Yes, and it's all related, you know, time management, productivity, organization, lifestyle shifts, decluttering, minimalism. It kind of all goes hand in hand. So I'm excited to see what you do next. I'm excited to see you speaking on stages soon or, you know, launching new YouTube channels or podcasts or whatever it ends up being. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the show today, Tamara. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Let me stop recording. There we go.